Zach here. I just wanted to quickly show you some of the capabilities of the software I've been working on for you. Um, so I can't, unfortunately, I can't really go over everything that's in the software because it's just going to create a really long video, and uh, I don't think it may not be worth your time because you may have like additional questions about specific things. Um, so I'm just going to kind of quickly go through everything that I created. I may skim over a few things that are minor details. But if you have any questions when we're in person, I can definitely go over anything. That way that we cover as much as possible. But this is just kind of give you an idea of what I've created and how it will work for logging trading history. Okay. So let's go ahead and go into the file. So I've already opened a file and I've already done a few things with it. So to start out, if you're using Excel 2016, if you've upgraded already, go into the Insert tab quickly and then just go into My Add-ins right here. And then search for Stock Connector, and that's going to be authored by Michael Saunders. This is a legit add-in. It's great for stock connecting in Mac. It took me some time to find it, but I think it's definitely worth it. So go ahead and insert that. And then automatically you've got this loader here. And you can pull this out as you please if you need to. Minimize it, do whatever with it. I've already kind of loaded it to kind of how it's going to work. So I've loaded up some stocks here, and I'm just going to go ahead and they're already connected, but I'll go ahead and take them out just to kind of illustrate what you're going to do. So you're going to enter in Carrot Top, and then Carrot Top. I think I've got something inserted. Okay, let's go. Carrot Top GSPC. That's the S&P 500 in Yahoo Finance. And then go ahead and select O2 for your S&P 500 quote. And select OK. Good deal. And then it's already there. And then we'll go ahead and do the VIX as well. And hit connect. Great, we're connected. Now we'll go to O3 right there. Click OK. And then now we're refreshing every infinity, which means we're not refreshing at all. So if you need to refresh instantly, you can do it every 15 seconds, every 5 seconds. I think 5 seconds is kind of the minimum that you can do. But for now, I'm not going to change anything. This stock connector can kind of float around, do whatever you need to do with it. You can put it on the side. I'm going to go ahead and close it out for visibility right now. Okay, great. So we've got our stock kind of updated. Everything will update automatically. So a few things, some of these fields over here, they're not going to mean a whole lot coming up pretty soon here because I'm changing a few things before I see you on Wednesday. So all these, days to expiry, like that's not going to be needed to be visible. It's not going to, like, you don't need to see that at all, or product or expiry. None of that is really necessary right now. So don't worry about that. If you immediately open this file, you should have enabled macros in order for that to work, in order for this entire software to work. And then initially, when you open this file up, you're going to see some issues. It's going to go ahead and refresh every 5 seconds or 15 seconds. And that's just going to be because it's set up for Windows. So if you just hit stop refresh before you do anything, it should go ahead and run through this process, and then it'll go to this cell here, and then it should stop refreshing for you. So, and then you can kind of go ahead and do that add-in thing, and then add in your stock connector. All right, cool. So I haven't added in any data here to kind of illustrate how this is going to work. So let's go ahead and add some data. Let's get started. Okay, so let's add a trade. Awesome. I've got some data already in here on the put side. I've kind of shown you a little bit of this, but it looked very different last time I showed you. So let's go ahead and add in an expiry. So these are previous expiries I did. It hasn't cleared out yet, but let's just go ahead and use August 4th. This will load any expiries that you have previously, and then we'll update as you go along. So let's go ahead and use August 4th, and then I'll add in a call side here. We'll go 2100. That's going to be an alert because the S&P 500 is at 2099, but we'll do it anyways just to show you what's going on. And then 2150, quantity demanded 1, and then I'll just go ahead and add a net for that, which is $1.20. Well, I'm just saying that's what it is. Your entry date is automatically calculated from the time you click submit trade. Let's see, I don't know if that's exactly true, but it's kind of close. It's the same day. And then your days to expiry is automatically calculated from whatever expiry you use. So once we get all of our data set, these will automatically calculate based on whatever you enter in up here. I think you saw that when I was updating the short and the long side. So once we've got everything set, looks like we didn't have quantity demanded, so I'll just add that in. And then once we're ready, we'll add trade. And then, so this is going to take a little bit. I might speed up the video just a sec here, just to kind of show what's going on a little bit faster. Okay, so our trade has been added, and that is right there. So you can see we've got a put side and a call side already entered in. And then I mentioned earlier that the 2100 would be a little bit too close to the S&P 500 because the S&P 500 is at 2099. So we get an alert, and this alert is calculated from the alert that's up here under I3, and that's $25. So I think I'm loading something. I'm probably filtering right now. Yep, okay. So I added in another trade. I clicked add trade twice, and that's why I did that. No biggie. I'd rather have more data right now. Okay, so this alert is being calculated based on whatever's in this cell here. I'm going to move this to data drivers later. I'll talk about that page in a little bit, and that's where you edit anything that's going on with this, this spreadsheet. Okay, so yes, again, these shorts, these are what trigger the alerts. These red bar alerts in the spreadsheet. So just be aware of that. You know, you're going to want to take any action if anything is in red, or let it expire. That's just to kind of let you know something's going on with that trade, and you should be able to see it's on the call side because there's only one record with the call side on it. You can't have both spreads on one record. When I refer to a record, I'm talking about a row inside the spreadsheet. All right, so quickly I'm going to go into close trade if you want to close the trade, and then I'm going to go ahead and close it at 70 cents. Sounds good to me. I'll hit close trade, and then now this is going to go ahead and enter in a debit to close, and then that's going to calculate closing cost, and then that's actually going to filter out that trade from this spreadsheet. So now every time you close it, the close is filtered out. It's still there, it's just kind of hidden. So there you can see that's where the close is. 70 cents was entered. I believe this is only not showing all the decimals. So if you want to go ahead and hide that again, it'll just be hidden. It's still there, but don't worry about it. You won't see it. So you can only concentrate. You can just concentrate on the trades that are open. All right. So from there, let's talk about rolling. So I've got this kind of nifty button here that just kind of closes 5 columns of rolling, because you don't necessarily need to see all this rolling, but let's say you want to, you can. So roll tally, this column is going to calculate how many times you've rolled something, and that's going to be based on the action I'm about to take with one trade to roll it. So you'll see that kind of update. Original net is just taking your data from your net up here and working with that. We can add something so that it accumulates your debt to close, your closing debt cost, and we can sum up that entire roll, look at some more analysis, but I figured you might want to see this before we proceed. So roll 2, this is going to show the date, the expiry date you rolled it to. Rolled from is going to be exactly what it is. It's just going to be, if you've rolled something, the new trade is going to show your rolled from date. And then your roll ID is going to use both your roll to and your rolled from. Those are going to be the original dates, and that's going to show up in your roll ID. So, I mean, talk is cheap. Let's show it and show how it works. Okay, so let's roll it. All right, you have to close one trade to roll a trade, so we're going to close this trade at 50 cents. All right, let's start our roll. All right, so that actually automatically entered in a debt to close, and that roll is going to be filtered out of the trading platform. So let's say you want to enter in a new trade. Let's do a different expiry. Let's go a month later to roll it out, and we'll do it on, well, we did a put side, so let's do a put side. So now that I have a put side, I'm going to quickly add this trade, and then that's going to take a little bit of time. So I'll speed up the video when we're ready. Okay, great. So it looks like it's just about to filter. So you can kind of see what's been done. Closing cost has been entered, and it's just taking a little bit. It's probably taking a little bit, just honestly, because I have this screen player running, and I'm also videoing myself. So my computer isn't all this like super computer genius, so it's not showing everything. All right, so we have one open trade from that roll, and it calculated that it's only been rolled once in this roll chain. There's only one roll in this roll chain so far, and that was rolled from August 4th. That was our original trade. And then it's got this roll ID of August 4th to September 4th, and that's our expiry right here. So anytime we pull up, we want to see a roll chain, we can just go to roll ID. So I just clicked on the filter there, and then we can see any of our roll chains that have been added. So we only have one roll chain so far. Good deal. And then this tally will update every time I roll something. So for the sake of time, I'm not going to roll this again, but you can, and then this will get updated, and then a new trade will have the same exact roll ID. This is the original roll ID. That way it kind of keeps track of exactly when you started to roll that trade, so that there's some identification to that. We can change the roll identification if you would like. I just thought this would be a good way to kind of look at everything that's going on. Okay, so let's say you want to see what's been rolled. You can just pull up, go on this filter here under status and click rolled, and then you can see, okay, something was rolled to something, and then there's a date that's calculated here, and then there's a roll ID. So there's two trades that have a roll ID there, and then we're only going to see those trades if we were, for instance, to see just one roll chain. So now we can just see that roll chain right there, and roll tally is 1 for both, because in that entire roll chain, that's where there's only been one roll so far. And that will change for each roll in this roll chain. As we add another roll, that next roll chain is going to be, that roll tally is going to be 2, 3, 4, etc. as we go on. So I'm going to go, let's say I want to see everything. I don't even see my debt to close right now, or my buying power reduction sums. So I'm going to go ahead and reset my filters. And what this is going to do is just kind of show everything that's going on. And it looks like I just need to quickly say select. Oh, I only have 4 trades anyway, so that's why I'm only seeing this. But resetting your filter will be able to show you everything that's open so far, and then you won't see anything that's rolled or closed or expired. And then you can see, your total puts and calls and your buying power reduction. All right, so let's talk about a few other things quickly as we go along. There's a lot of automation that's going on here, and how is everything automated? Okay, so we've only added 2 expiries so far. This is automatically calculated just using an index match function, and that means we're getting our expiries calculated here, and then we're able to work with those later. You don't need to edit anything in here. Let's say you want to add more than 10 contracts in the future. You can add more contracts, but you need to make sure that your contract field range is updated so that you include 11 contracts. That's only if you want to expand this spreadsheet in the future, but I don't think you'll be needing 11 contracts for something. Yeah, anyways, and so this is where some of our data validation is. Everything in green you don't need to update for now. So this is where we talked about days to expiry. These are the minimum dates, days that to expiry, and then maximum days. These are ranges. So anything from 0 to 29 days is going to have a 75% target percentage of profit to close. And that's the same throughout all of these. I'm going to quickly move on. History distance. So this is kind of interesting. And this kind of leads into my next topic, which is how do we kind of filter out our data and make sure that we're only showing what's relevant. So this is a history distance. So anything that has expired and has expired at least 90 days ago will be filtered out, and that'll be filtered out into our old expiry. So I kind of ran some simulations, and everything in here is January, which is about 120 days from today. So everything in here is expired, and we don't need to see it anymore, but I've just kind of sent it off to die, basically, because we don't need to include so many trades in our open trade platform, and we don't want to see them either. It's kind of useless. They're expired, they're out of the way. If we want to analyze them later, we totally can, but they're really not necessary to be here. So anything that's expired, and based on this data driver, so if you set it to 15 days after expiry, everything that's after 15 days will expire. So let's say you're trading too much and you go past like 450 rows. Maybe it's time to start thinking about setting this data driver to be a little bit less so that you filter out a lot of those older trades. So under trades, if you want to do that, I'm not going to kind of display it right now just to kind of shorten this video, but if you wanted to do that, you would just hit clean data, and then that would clean out all of the expiries that are expired and are at least 90 days past expiry. So that will kind of go ahead and take out everything there. And so that's a kind of a cool thing, just because we're getting everything out of the way, and there's nothing that's in our way. And it'll show everything, all the role ID, all this information, anything that was tagged along with a record. And I believe that's it. That's kind of interesting. I've never thought that that would actually be it. Oh, one thing I do want to mention is that these aren't sums. These are subtotals. And the reason why is because we want to show only what's visible. A subtotal function is great for showing only what's visible when we're using a lot of filters. So the reason for this is that, if you want to see what your buying power reduction is for one expiry or 1 month, that your subtotal functions are going to be able to show that. So let's say I don't want to show this September expiry. So that's going to change my put side. So I'll take off September, and then boom, automatically it went from, I think, 20,000 to 10,000. So let's go ahead and add it back. Oh, it just went back. So it's just a nifty tool so that you can kind of analyze your buying power reduction by month if you need to. All right. Let's see, what else? So there are some limitations based on what you can do whenever you're trying to enter in data. Just bear in mind, you just probably have to tweak it a little bit to make sure that data is entered properly into message boxes or anything like that. I think I mentioned, some of this data is not going to be as important as I go along and I present this later to you in the future. But I think that's about it. This is kind of the updated version. Also, let me know if you want to change any of the colors, any of the schemes, if you want these to be circles or anything like that. Any kind of theme you want, I can totally do. I don't think it will take too long to kind of update. Also, you'll notice I kind of minimize some of these rows and columns as much as possible. I think you know basically what all these fields are, if I haven't explained them already. Um, let me know. I can definitely, update you on what everything is. Um, but for the most part, it's pretty similar to kind of what we started out, just with a lot more automation and a lot more styling. Everything's black now with some grays, and some white. But any kind of color you want, anything different, we can totally change. Um, and then anything, other options, we can expand upon. I've kind of thought about some things as far as like, adding a trade. Some of these things, like if you were to add a trade here, like it could be closer, like this dial down could be closer. If it was like, if this was 2100, then this should be like really close, right? Well, it's not, it's just kind of a static image right now, but we can make that dynamic if you want, just to make it cooler. I've had a lot of fun, playing around with this and making sure it works cleanly and looks good as well. So let me know, and I'll do my best to kind of make any changes that you would like. And with that, I think that's all I have. I know that was a lot to go through, but let me know if you have any questions. We'll talk on Wednesday, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.